When her brother spotted the lifeless body under the sheet in her living room, she said she needed more time before calling the cops. Did she really dismember her mom and dad over some valuables? Or did she just snap? This is the story of Verity Beck, the special needs teacher who was having a bad time with her parents. Hi friends, I'm Katie, and this is Katie Does Crime. Thank you for joining me for the first time if you're new here, and hello to the usual rapscallions and reprobates. Please consider subscribing or joining me on Patreon if you'd like to hear more true crime stories. On January 17th, 2023, authorities arrived at the home of 72-year-old Miriam and 73-year-old Reed Beck. The couple lived in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, just 10 miles north of Philadelphia. The TV show The Goldbergs is set in this tiny town, if that gives you any indication of what it's like there. But more importantly, Bradley Cooper is from just a mile up the road from where this crime takes place. Just saying. The couple's son became seriously concerned when he hadn't heard from his parents in more than a week. It wasn't like them to just not call or text every day, and though he'd been receiving texts from both of their phones, he hadn't heard their voices since he last spoke to his mom on January 7th. So he drove by their house that evening and saw the lights out and the cars in the driveway. Maybe he was worrying for no reason. His 43-year-old sister, Verity, had texted him earlier in the week about not feeling well, so he went back to his house to make some soup for her. She lived with their parents, so bringing her the soup would allow him to check on his parents at the same time. He let himself into their home with his key, and immediately he saw a body wrapped tightly with a bedsheet. The sheet was stained with blood, and the body appeared to be his dad's. He yelled for his sister, who joined him in the living room. Verity said things had been bad. He told her to call the police. She said she needed more time. They spoke at length, but she never told him exactly what happened to their dad. She also never mentioned their mom at all, but the son had a feeling she was also dead. He went back home and called 911. When officers arrived at the couple's home that night, they first knocked on the door and then used a remote-controlled robot and a drone to look around the house in the hope of locating Verity. It was after midnight when they finally breached the house through a side door, and they immediately smelled the decomposition. Verity came downstairs with her hands raised, and the officers asked her about her parents. She said, "They are dead." They found it odd that she seemed more concerned about what would happen now to her cats and dogs than what did happen to her parents. Authorities found Verity's father with a furniture dolly underneath him, like she had used it to move him. He was decapitated. A chainsaw was near him, bits of flesh stuck in its teeth. A 55-gallon trash can containing white trash bags filled with severed body parts was close by. They then found Verity's mother in the garage, cut into pieces and also distributed among various white trash bags. The bags were jammed into a 55-gallon trash can and covered with pillows. In a bedroom, they found a pillow with a hole through it and powder burns around it, as if someone had shot a gun through the pillow. They think it was likely done with a revolver because there were no cartridge casings left behind, and there were later 3 revolvers found in the home. They believe that the couple was dismembered in one of the bedrooms due to marks on the carpet there. It appeared that someone had tried to crack the safe in the primary bedroom with a drill that was lying nearby. There were newspapers outside the house dating back to January 7th, the day the son last spoke to his mom on the phone. The autopsy would later show that Miriam died from a gunshot to the back of the head, and they had to test Reed's severed head to determine that he had been shot above his left eye. The district attorney said the autopsies weren't easy to conduct due to the dismemberment and the parts being distributed amongst the trash bags. Miriam Tony Beck was a school nurse for a local high school for 20 years before finally retiring in 2018. One student said Mrs. Beck used to save every news clipping about the girl's softball career to give to her. Miriam's husband, Reed, was a training director at a local labor union for steam fitters. A coworker described him as just a friendly, nice man, the kind of guy who makes people feel comfortable. Their daughter, an alleged murderer, Verity Ann, was born in May 1979, and according to Newsweek, had recently been living in Sea Isle City, New Jersey. Her parents had a vacation home there, and she was working as a beach tag inspector. You know, the people who check to make sure you pay to be on public beaches that charge a fee. However, in 2020, she had to file for bankruptcy. I'm guessing it was then that she moved back home to Pennsylvania with her parents. Verity had been a special needs teacher at St. Catherine's School of Special Education in Wynwood since January 2022. She cleared background checks and didn't have any previous issues according to the Archdiocese, The school says they are shocked and horrified and have, understandably placed Verity on administrative leave. Now, as I said, the authorities believe Verity must have killed her parents on January 7th when the papers started to pile up on the porch. But their phones continued to text their son after that, so the district attorney believes Verity must have been using her parents' phones to keep up appearances. But why did she do it? This is purely based on my speculation, but I can see a lot of pressure points in Verity's life. There was the bankruptcy in 2020, having to move back home and live with her parents, starting a new job in 2022, and a very difficult job teaching special needs children. It sounds like a lot of weight was on her shoulders, because if this was really just about the safe in the primary bedroom, what could have been in there that was worth killing her parents over?
I don't have a motive for you. I don't know what was going on, between these folks. That's all under investigation, and that's going to be continuing at this point, and maybe we'll have more on that later. But what I'm here to tell you is just a horrible, tragic situation where a 73-year-old and 72-year-old were murdered and dismembered.
Verity Beck is charged with 2 counts of first degree and 2 counts of third-degree murder and possession of an instrument of crime. She's being held without bail in Montgomery County due to the first-degree murder charges. A judge has ordered her to be admitted to a local psychiatric hospital called Norristown State Hospital that seemingly only has creepy photos of its abandoned buildings online, but I'm hoping that the building Verity will be kept in for as many as 60 days is a little bit less haunted. She was originally scheduled for a February 1st preliminary hearing, but will now have a mental health competency evaluation first to see if she's fit to stand trial or needs ongoing care. A judge appointed the chief homicide lawyer in the public defender's office to represent Verity. Now, I've seen people ask online why the brother went home to call 911, why he didn't stop then and there and turn his sister in. My thinking is that not only was he probably in shock, but I also read that he has young kids at home. If he knew his sister had access to multiple weapons, and we know he did because he told the dispatcher in his 911 call later, he may not have wanted to risk his safety knowing that his children waited for him back at home. There's a chance he was frightened of what his sister was capable of.
This is somebody that is dismembering, her mother and father, and putting body parts in trash cans. So clearly, she's trying to get rid of the evidence of her crime. I mean, they'd been shot in the head, we believe at a close range, with a pillow. So that's the indications there.
I'm certainly interested to see what they'll determine after Verity's psych evaluation. This is a person who allegedly killed her parents, dismembered them with a chainsaw, and then lived with their decaying bodies for as many as 10 days during Christmas break. I know they say you get used to smells, but it's hard for me to fathom what that was like. And what about the fact that Verity started to cover up the crime by stuffing the body parts into trash cans? When she told her brother she needed more time, did she mean more time to come to grips with what she'd done before calling the police, or more time to finish the job? The local police chief said, "What they discovered, you can't unsee that." He hopes the couple was sleeping when it happened. Now, I'll keep an eye on this case as it unfolds, and we'll follow up as soon as we learn more about Verity's motives. In the meantime, I'd love to know what you think. Did Verity just snap, or was the safe with the drill nearby the smoking gun? Let me know in the comments. And please stay tuned at the end of this video if you'd like to watch the entire press conference with the district attorney in Verity's case. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube video. I'm just a true crime fan like you are, and I really appreciate you taking a chance on me. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like spending this time together. I'd be so appreciative. Until next time, I'm Katie, and this has been Katie Does Crime.
First off, I apologize for the late notice for all of you on this. It's been developing throughout the day, and we really wanted to get this to you this evening, and that was part of the late notice that came from you all. I'm here with Chief Pat Malloy from Abington Township and First Assistant District Attorney Ed McCann. announced the arrest in a double homicide in Abington Township. The arrest is of Verity Beck, 49, of Rydell. Last night, Abington police were called to conduct a wellness check in a home where Reed and Miriam Beck lived on Beverly Road, Jenkintown section of Abington Township. And that was about 10:30 p.m. last night. When police arrived, they were able to get in the house and immediately identified a deceased male, and that was Reed. And he was wrapped in a white sheet and comforter. And they were also, unfortunately, able to see that there was evidence of Miriam in the house also, and she was deceased. So there were signs of extreme trauma, and I'll tell you that that a chainsaw was found, and both Reed and Miriam were found in different stages of dismemberment. And that was one of the reasons that has taken the time that it did today for us, because these were not easy autopsies to conduct, based upon the fact that Verity used this chainsaw and then had put parts of her parents into trash bags and had covered them up, and they were actually in two different trash cans. The autopsy revealed that both Reed and Miriam were shot in the head. We believe that happened first. There is evidence that a pillow was used in the shot, and it was one shot to each of their heads. So we hope and pray that happened first. The case and the work that is being done is still ongoing. We are looking for what motive could have been behind this. I can't share one with you at this time. We did find evidence in the house of a safe that had been attempted to be broken into. And we also believe that this happened over a period of some time. Their voices were last heard by a family member on the 7th of January. So we believe that they may have been decomposing in that time, and that was also, unfortunately, the smell that the officers got when they first came into the house, and sadly, that's a very distinctive smell. So. Has not been an easy day for a lot of officers working on this case. Hearts go out to other family members for losing two folks, each in their 70s. So we'll take questions on it at this point.
Do you have any history or know of any history for the suspect mental illness history?
Well, I can't get into that, but the chief ran and see it if there was any other contacts with the house or anything along those lines, and there was not. So this wasn't something that was an ongoing concern for the police because they had been called. So this was them going to the house here on a wellness check because a family member knew something had gone on here.
Okay, but the defendant, what's her status at this point right now? Is she cooperating? Has she been arraigned? Can you give us some details?
Yeah, so I'm not sure of the arraignment process, but what I can tell you is that she'll be at the Montgomery County Correctional Facility. So she's charged with first-degree murder. It's a non-bailable offense, not eligible for bail, so she'll be incarcerated, and then a preliminary hearing will be set, and those things. So the judge has the paperwork. I'm not sure on which stage that is and when the arraignment will happen, if it has happened. She'll be going to she's there. All right, she's already at the Montgomery County Correctional Facility.
Has she provided any statements?
There was some conversation that she had with a family member, and then there was just some limited discussion when the police got there, but that's it.
And you said she talked with Justin when he came into the house for 30 minutes. Anything you can tell us about what that conversation consisted of?
I can tell you what's in the probable cause affidavit, and that's about it.
Can you walk me through the timeline again? When do you think they died?
We believe it may have been on the 7th of January. That's when their voices had last been heard. And I say that specifically because it seems like the daughter may have had access to their phones and may have been texting on their behalf, but no one had heard their voices since the 7th, and that was unusual because family members would talk to them a lot.
So was she living there at that whole time while they were presumably dead?
I can't tell you the specifics of what went on, but she was also a resident of the house, it seemed like the bodies were moved a bit from some of the things, and there was evidence that a chainsaw had been used.
Do you believe she was in the process of actively trying to conceal these crimes? And we talked about, do we know?
Clearly, this is somebody that is dismembering, her mother and father, and putting body parts in trash cans. So clearly, she's trying to get rid of the evidence of her crime. And again, they'd been shot in the head. We believe at a close range, with a pillow. So that's the indications there.
Does she have any prior history of any mental illness or any offenses?
That was asked already. I can't get into that.
I'm questioning. So this is a domestic dispute with family. Any message for people who could possibly relate to something like this or be in harm's way, to see if there are any signs, the mother and father?
Again, like when I went through this, I don't have a motive for you. I don't know what was going on, between these folks. That's all under investigation, and that's going to be continuing at this point, and maybe we'll have more on that later. But what I'm here to tell you is just a horrible, tragic situation where a 73-year-old and 72-year-old were murdered and dismembered, and it's been a difficult day for everybody working on this stuff. Yeah.
The officers, they smell the decomposing. That's a smell you can't forget. You say it's also safe to say a difficult day for them.
It is, and it's. I think sometimes people don't think about all the things that have to get done in police work in terms of public safety and going on a wellness check, and then you find this, and then all the folks that had to work all day today to try to get everything to the coroner's office and work through that, and that was a difficult task for the forensic pathologist and everybody working through that, and you have a great team working on all this stuff, and then you can't overlook the tragedy that we're dealing with, and family members of these folks that are going to be going through a really, really difficult time. So, this is a tragic situation. Our first assistant just stepped out of the room for a minute, and that was because we wanted to try to get some confirmation. So I'm gonna turn to something else here, and I know the Limerick chief wanted to be with us today, but he is out at a scene in Royersford right now, and unfortunately, I have to announce that we have found Jennifer Brown, who we have been looking for, and she is dead. She was a mother who was last seen on Tuesday, January 3rd, at her home in Limerick. Friends and family have not heard from her since that day. As I said, she was a devoted mother of an 8-year-old boy, and by all accounts, she would have never left him unintended and unsupervised. Personal belongings were still at her house, and we have been engaging in an intensive investigation. And I can't tell you how many people have worked through this and have helped in this case to try to locate her. And we hoped and prayed that she would be safe. And she is not. So unfortunately, she's been located out in Royersford, and we've been able to confirm that it was her. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Miss Brown's family and friends at this time. She'll get over to the coroner's office at some point. That's going to be a bit of a process, unfortunately, from where we found her, and that remains an ongoing investigation at this point. But I am sad to announce to everybody that has been helping us look for her, and hoping and praying that she would be alive, and she is not.
Kevin, could you detail the location of where she was found?
I can tell you it's in Royersford, and it's a scene that they're working right now. So that's going to probably go well into the night. I'm not sure when I'm going to have updates for you on that, but what I can tell you is that's going to be an ongoing investigation, and we're going to have to see what's revealed when she gets to the coroner's office. So,
Can you say what condition she was found in? What leads led to finding her?
I can tell you that she was at least partially buried. So. Okay, thanks everybody. Sorry this was so.
One last question. Do you have anybody you suspect in her disappearance that could be connected to what happened to Jennifer Brown? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Chief. Take care.